Hey, it's Simi Ray. Welcome back to Brave Bird Astrology. So I decided to get orange today because today we're talking about the sun. Hey, we're talking about the sun. We talking about the sun. Hey. So I'm just gonna real quick go through the houses and how the sun affects wherever house it's in. But before I get to that, the sun is your ego. Okay, it is your identity. So wherever the sun is hitting in your chart is where it's going to brighten, okay, or illuminate. The sun and the moon are the illuminators, okay. And sun, from what I've also learned from other astrologers, is your father's message to you, okay. So sun is father, moon is mother, okay. But the sun, if your sun falls in your first house, that's an Aries house, okay. So it would make your identity closely tied in with self, okay. You would have lots of self-interest. Most people are self-interested, but you would really be self-interested and a mover, shaker, innovator. This could make you an entrepreneur. Second house, that is a Taurus house. That rules wealth, possessions, and values. And your identity would be closely tied to money, most probably. You would put a lot of value in not just money, but traditional aspects of life. And so your ego and your identity would be closely tied to those things. Third house, okay, is the house of communication, short distance travel, neighbors, your community as a whole, your siblings, also trades, and yes, that's it. So that's where my sun sits. So I'm a communicator. I love to communicate. I don't shut up, okay? So with the sun lighting up that part of my house, it makes me I can come off in more of a Gemini way, because even though my sun is in Libra, it gives it gives my ego and identity more of a Gemini, mercurial flavor. Fourth house is a Cancerian house. This house represents home, family, your early life, and some say like it's a karmatic house, like your soul. Well, all of the water houses are karmatic, but your early soul. Okay, so your sun sits here. It's lighting up the fourth house. So you may have your identity will be tied in with your family. You may be very close to your family and feel comfortable with them and express yourself through familiar things. Fifth house is the house of romance, children, dramatic arts, and what else is there? I'm missing something. Creativity. Yes, that's the big one. Okay, so if your sun is sitting in your fifth house, you would probably most likely be very creative. It would be very, very important to you to create something. Your identity, your ego is tied to it. You put a lot of pride in it. And of course you would, because fifth house is a Leo house. And Leo is ruled by the sun. So its parent. Its parent planet is, well, not planet, star is the sun. So we just talked about fifth house. Sixth house, okay. Sixth house is a Virgo house. It's the house of like your daily routines, pets, your work ethic, health, and hidden enemies. House of hidden enemies. So the sun lighting up your fifth house, you would be a great worker. You'd be a great employee. You would be very diligent and detailed in the things that you do. Pets might be tied to your identity. Somebody may really love your pets. Hidden enemies. You might know a lot of your hidden enemies. I know they're supposed to be hidden, but your sun is lighting the chart up there. So you might know who they are, okay? And health. Health would be a very themed part of your life, probably. You might be a person who loves a health routine and be a health junkie in some kind of way. Seventh house is the house of partnerships. Also, the house of contracts, marriage, law. Well, not law necessarily. That's more 10th house, but like court cases and things like that. And then also the house of open enemies. Your sun is lighting up this chart. This part of your chart. Relationships will be a theme for you. You may find that your relationships, and not just romantic, it could be partnerships, like a business partnership. You might be very well at that. You might be good in law. You might be a good lawyer. And also, your open enemies, you may do well against open enemies because the sun is lighting up that part of the chart. Eighth house, one of my favorite houses, it's the Scorpionic house. That's transformation, death and rebirth, other people's money, hidden things, secrets, okay? So when your sun lights up this house, people want to tell you their secrets. I know, it's crazy. And you have to keep them because it's in your nature to keep them. You might do well with other people's money. You might be a broker. You may also transform yourself several times in your life. Like die and be reborn in certain ways of your life throughout the rest of your life. The ninth house is the house of long distance travel, religion. It's a Sagittarian house. It also represents higher learning, foreign languages, and also it's the house of I like to say it's the house of the guru. So if your sun is hitting on the ninth house, you may be very interested in different types of religions. You may actually feel the need to get a guru at some point in your life. You may be very intelligent, and just always be seeking knowledge. That would be a theme like tied to your identity. 10th house, which is a career house, is and it's ruled by Capricorn, right? Saturn. I'll get to planets later. I don't want to confuse you. But it's 10th house, Capricorn house. It's career and your public outlook, how people see you in the public eye. So if your sun is lighting up your 10th house, your career would be very important to you, and your reputation would be very important to you, and it would be something, again, loosely tied to your identity. You wouldn't want anyone to spit on your name, and you may be very good in business. 11th house is the house of the Aquarian, okay? So it's forward movement, the future, innovation, the house of gains, okay? So, your sun being there, you might be lucky with money and profits. You may see over time that you make a profit with something. And you also may be very eclectic and Aquarian in certain ways, and be forward thinking in the way you approach life, okay? 12th house is the house of fantasy, the house of undoing, it's the house of illusions, also bed pleasures. What else is there? I'm missing something, but it's okay. So when your sun, spirituality. Okay, so you know how Virgo is a health. So the Virgo and Pisces axis is a health axis, right? They're healers. Virgo, it heals more. It's an earth sign, so it's more about what you can see, touch, feel, right? Pisces is more the spiritual. Pisces has one foot in the spiritual realm and on this earth. So you might be a empath. You may be very intuitive. Yeah, I would say you'd be very intuitive if your sun was in the 12th house. And also, you may find a way to heal. You may be in the healing arts, like spiritually healing arts would be a focus for you, or a draw for you. But yeah, that's the sun in all of the houses. And yeah, stay tuned for the moon.